Which we begin with Perth's toxic telephone waste. The danger surrounding asbestos is well known. Pity some of the contractors working on the national broadband network don't have a better understanding. Builder Michael Francis was shocked they'd left a broken up pile of the nasty material on his property. Paul Macon has more.
All asbestos is dangerous. There's no safe asbestos at all.
I just think it shouldn't happen.
It worries me that this stuff is laying around.
Asbestos. We've all heard of it, but how much do we respect it?
You get exposed to asbestos and it could take anywhere from 10 to 40 odd years before you know you've got a problem. So people tend to be a bit blasé about it.
So why would someone just leave it lying around?
They're either completely incompetent or they don't care.
Builder Michael Francis was checking out his vacant block at the seaside suburb of Seaford in Adelaide South last Anzac Day. And what he found caused him to do his block.
I popped around here with one of my contractors and his young 4-year-old son, and the little boy was just tracking around and his dad called out to him, "Get away from that, Tom, it's asbestos."
Contractors employed on the NBN rollout had been there the day before and left the dangerous calling card.
A Telstra pit is essentially a box, and it's made from a asbestos reinforced cementous product. Quite safe when it's encapsulated, but when it's broken, fibres can be released.
And you'd think at least a few of those fibres would have been released when the workers bashed it out of the ground.
How it was broken, machine, by hand, who knows? Got the little boy away from it, left the site. I immediately went home. This is Anzac Day, of course. Got on the phone to report the matter.
On the other end of the line, NBN Co were quickly on to Synthio, the company being paid $825 million for their part in the high-speed broadband rollout. They in turn called their contractors at the coalface, the Ellers Group from Victor Harbour. The next day, the asbestos box was picked up, but
I returned to the site with my Cobra mine to take some more photographs, and we found small remnants, broken pieces, fresh breaks of exactly the same box.
But just to make sure, Michael had it tested.
It was white asbestos. I've removed asbestos properly and legally on many building projects over a lifetime in the building industry. Those protocols simply were not observed.
I don't think there's any excuse for it. It's just process and procedure.
For Perth Poly Steve Irons, this is a familiar tale. One of his constituents hid in the bushes to get these pictures of contractors smashing up a telecom pit.
One worker was suited, another worker close by wasn't suited. So there was immediately a danger to the other worker.
And it was Groundhog Day. The contractors there didn't clean up properly either, leaving behind deadly asbestos.
They said it was only a small piece, but there shouldn't be any asbestos left behind. We know how dangerous asbestos can be to the population.
They've left biscuit-sized pieces laying around, which kids tend to pick up, draw on footpaths, things like that. You do that, you release fibres.
Terry Miller, who worked for James Hardy for 20 years, has asbestosis. He also heads up the Asbestos Victims Association.
To put it nicely, it's irresponsible. There's no known safe level of exposure to asbestos, so leaving it laying around is irresponsible.
Well, we got no response from the contractors, but Synthio responded with this.
Synthio commenced an investigation and stood the responsible subcontractor down. The subcontractor's employees were re-inducted into their safe work method statements, particularly in relation to asbestos-related procedures.
Wendy Tredinick, who runs Total Asbestos Services, tells us she received a weird phone call 5 weeks ago.
From a girl called asking if we could dispose of Telstra pits. She says, we're removing them, we do about 10 to 15 a week, yeah, we just need to dispose of them. I said, well, are they wrapped or what's the deal? She said, yeah, they're in asbestos bags and they're sealed with duct tape, blah, blah. And I said, OK, that's fine. I said, so do you guys have an asbestos licence, do you? She said, oh, yeah. And it wasn't a very definite yeah. I said, oh, OK then, and gone.
She hung up on you?
Yes.
Let's hope those asbestos-riddled Telstra pits did end up going to the right place.
NBN or whatever, okay, everybody wants a bit faster on their internet, but not at the cost of somebody's life 20, 30 years down the track.
Telstra has announced it will review asbestos handling procedures.